good, y'all? We back with another video. My y'all doing great today. Today we got horrifying places in the ocean. It's gonna be crazy, man. We're gonna see what happened in this video. We'll get into it, man. You know what I'm saying? See what happened.
Hi, it's Katrina.
Number 10, the Pool of Death. Scientists just discovered a deadly pool at the bottom of the ocean. This pool is so deadly that it kills every single thing that swims into it. It's been appropriately nicknamed the Dead Pool, and it's lurking at the bottom of the Red Sea. It measures over 107,000 square feet, and it was identified by researchers with the University of Miami. Although the discovery only made headlines recently, it was actually found in 2020. The team used a remotely operated underwater vehicle to dive 1.1 miles beneath the surface, and that was where the death pool was found. The pool is kind of a crater at the bottom of the sea.
It could be a pool within the ocean. That's crazy.
Hint of oxygen in it. It's also filled with a thick brine, a potent concentration of salt that's fatal for almost anything that touches it. According to lead researcher Sam Purkis, any animal that accidentally swims into the brine is immediately stunned or killed. It's one of the most extreme environments on Earth, a soupy white gunk of salt. But believe it or not, the pool is being utilized by clever predators. Fish, eels, and even shrimp are using the brine to hunt. They lurk near the toxic pool and snatch up any sea creatures unlucky enough to accidentally swim into it. This isn't the only poisonous pool on Earth either. Scientists have already identified a few dozen of these across the world. They are in the Red Sea, the Mediterranean, and at least one is at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico. This newest one is special because it's only 1.2 miles from the Egyptian coast, which is unusually close to land. Number 9, the Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean, deeper than Mount Everest is high, and filled with all kinds of strange things. The trench descends to over 7 miles deep, where the pressure at the bottom is an astounding 15,750 psi. That is 8 tons of pressure per square inch, enough to squish the human body into jelly. The temperature hovers at around 34 degrees Fahrenheit, just above freezing. The first to reach the bottom of the Mariana Trench were Jacques Piccard and Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh in 1960. It took them only 5 hours to slowly sink to the bottom of Challenger Deep, the deepest part of the trench. And once they were down there, they could only stay for 20 minutes. Here's what happened when they got to the bottom. Their vessel touched down and immediately spat up clouds of silt and dust. Because of this, they couldn't even take pictures of what was down there because there was no visibility. And while there have been more expeditions since, they have all had about the same varying degree of success. They have spotted some creepy critters down there like anglerfish and squids floating higher up in the trench. The deepest known fish is the snailfish that was videotaped at 26,722 feet. But between 26,000 and 36,000 feet, we don't really know what goes on there. It's been almost impossible to investigate this particular area, and so we still don't know what kind of creepy monsters could be lurking in the deepest corner of the ocean. Number 8, a sea pickle. Recent underwater footage in the Pacific Ocean from 2015 has caught a strange and obscure sea monster. It was long like a serpent and emerged from the depths out of nowhere. It was identified as a gigantic sea pickle, also nicknamed fire bodies. Sea pickles belong to the genus Pyrosoma and are known for being bioluminescent and move slowly and gracefully through the water. These creatures can grow to be over 60 feet long. Technically, this strange organism is a free-floating colony made up of hundreds of thousands of teensy multicellular animals called zooids. Sea pickles live extremely close to the surface, usually in shallow, warm waters. But despite that, they are still really hard to find. It's because they're almost impossible to see unless you are really looking for them, as their bodies are totally opaque. They look like floating tubes with slightly bluish-green edges, and they emit bioluminescent light, a feature that's had them compared to translucent slugs. They are usually harmless, but they have been known to nibble on humans. A diver told the news that he had hundreds of small bites or stings on his legs after swimming around with sea pickles. Have you ever seen one in real life? Let me know in the comments below. Number 7.
Oh,
Icelandic sneaker waves.
I have not.
Reynisfjara Beach is a top tourist attraction in Iceland. It's famous for its rough black sand and dramatic views. However, the truth is that this beach is deadly, with the raw power of the ocean pushing against its black shore. Many tourists have died here. The main reason for the deadliness is something called sneaker waves. This is a natural phenomenon that occurs when multiple small waves combine their energy to form one gigantic wave. It usually happens because of the ocean currents, but on Reynisfjara Beach, it's all because of a secret underwater cliff. The underwater cliff adds to the pulling effect of the sneaker wave, making it even more powerful. Because of this, sneaker waves go much further onto the shore than in other places, and can easily scoop people off the beach and into the sea. The worst part is that you can't see it happening until it's too late. It looks like a couple of small waves, and then suddenly you're being carried out into the frigid waters, where you'll almost certainly die of hypothermia. As of July 2022, there have been 5 fatalities reported in the past 7 years alone, all because of these sneaker waves. And now for number 6. But first, want to give a big shout out to Morgan and bass player 666. Thanks so much for watching and supporting Origins Explained. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and join the family. Number 6. The sunken city of Cuba.
What could you do with a metal 3D printer?
Nothing with that big, I don't know how to use it.
Scientists were doing a survey mission off the western coast of Cuba when they noticed something strange on their sonar equipment. There appeared to be stone structures sitting over 2,133 feet beneath the surface of the ocean. These structures were set against a flat desert on the ocean floor, but they shocked scientists because of their symmetry. These objects boasted straight lines and sharp angles and had clearly been made by intelligent beings. These structures also suggested an urban environment, as there seemed to be streets, avenues, and districts. It was such an amazing discovery that people actually thought Atlantis had been found. This happened back in 2001, with the discovery being made by Pauline Zalitsky, a marine engineer, and her husband, Paul Weinsweig. But here's where things get spooky. After a flurry of media attention, the story faded into obscurity. The ruins were never investigated. Everyone seemed to have ignored the implications of a legitimate Atlantis being found. And 2 decades later, we still don't know what's down there. Maybe the whole thing was a hoax. Number 5. The Dragon Hole.
Never know.
Researchers believe they recently found the deepest underwater sinkhole in the world. Local fishermen call it the Dragon Hole, and it's located in the Paracel Islands off the coast of China. Some even call it the Eye of the South China Sea. It's a place of myth and legend, said to be where the Monkey King acquired his magical golden cudgel. But it's not only mentioned in the greatest classical novel of Chinese literature, Journey to the West, but the Dragon Hole is a very real place, and a dangerous one at that. After a full year of exploration, Chinese scientists determined the hole to reach at least 987 feet beneath the surface, which surpasses the previous record holder by over 300 feet. Until now, the deepest sinkhole in the ocean was Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas at 663 feet. But now it looks like the Dragon Hole has that record. A sinkhole in the ocean, also known as a blue hole, is really an underwater cave. It's a geological formation with a large circular entrance at sea level, which leads down into a system of underwater caverns and shelters. You can tell a blue hole right away because its entrance always has a dramatic dark blue color, just like the more famous blue hole off the coast of Belize. These holes in the ocean can be extremely dangerous. It's almost pitch black inside of the blue hole, and they are some of the most challenging places to dive. Plenty of divers in the past have gotten lost, disoriented, and wound up drowning. Number 4. Piracy on the high seas.
Why are you even going down there anyway?
The most dangerous place to be in the ocean is sometimes right at the surface, especially off the coast of Indonesia. According to information gathered by the International Maritime Bureau's Piracy Reporting Center, the waters of Indonesia are swarmed by pirates. That means that if you're on a ship, the place you're most likely to be boarded by pirates, as if you were in the 17th century, is Indonesia.
So do pirates still exist?
It doesn't come as a big surprise, considering just how many islands Indonesia
pirate still
has.
exists.
It's a pirate paradise with 17,500 individual islands throughout the Southeast Asian country. There are plenty of places to hide out, and plenty of vessels for pirates to take their pick of victims. When the International Maritime Bureau was looking at reports of piracy in 2013, they found an average of 43 pirate attacks in Indonesia, compared to 31 pirate attacks in Somalia. Those are still the two most dangerous places to be on the high seas. Then Nigeria with 22 pirate attacks, India with 7, and Peru with 4. Number 3. The Maelstrom.
Crazy.
Off the coast of Scotland is one of the most dangerous things in the entire ocean. It's located in the Gulf of Horrifying, which is a narrow strait between two islands on the west coast. This strait is particularly famous for its incredibly strong tidal currents and massive waves. And of course, its
always
whirlpool.
the tides.
The Horrifying whirlpool forms at certain times and turns into a swirling nightmare that can suck a person down into the freezing depths and kill them. And since this is Scotland, there are quite a few interesting legends attached to the dangerous whirlpool, which is supposedly the third biggest in the world. One legend says the whirlpool was named after a Norwegian prince who tried to prove his love to a Scottish princess. The princess's father gave the prince a weird task to keep his boat in the whirlpool for 3 nights. Only then could he marry the princess. But alas, the prince was sucked into the whirlpool and died, and that was how it got its name. There's even another legend that says the whirlpool was created by a local sea witch to keep Irish pirates out of Scotland. In reality, the whirlpool is thanks to a gigantic rock. It rises up from the depths to 95 feet beneath the surface. It's this gigantic obstruction in the middle of the strait which causes water to swirl around in a deadly maelstrom. Water gets forced upward as it smashes against the rock, which creates swirling waves. When it's particularly stormy, the whirlpool spins with such ferocious energy that it can be heard like a thunderous cloud from over 20 miles away.
Dang,
Number 2. The Yap and Palau Trenches. For the first time in history, 2 of the deepest trenches in the ocean have finally been explored. Until summer of 2022, no human had ever seen the bottom of the Yap and Palau trenches with their own eyes. Explorers Victor Vescovo and Cesario Souraller descended to the bottom of Yap Trench, to a depth of 29,295 feet. Then Victor and the former president of Palau dove together to the bottom of the Palau Trench, to 26,335 feet. These are some of the deepest places in the world, but are frequently overshadowed by the even deeper Mariana Trench to the northeast. All these trenches are basically neighbors, but Mariana is by far the deepest and most famous. But still, the trenches of Yap and Palau have their own geological history, unique characteristics, and mysterious ocean creatures. The habitat is quite similar to that of the Mariana Trench, but they are teeming with way more life. The Mariana Trench is deep but narrow, while Yap and Palau are shallower and wider. All of your favorite sea monsters that live in the hadal-pelagic zone, deep where sunlight can't reach, will live in these 2 trenches. They might live in the Mariana Trench too, but not in such great numbers. The Yap and Palau trenches have hardly been explored, so there is much more to be found down there. Number 1. The Samason Hole. The Samason Hole is dangerous for 2 main reasons. First of all, it's a deep blue hole that goes down 280 feet into obscurity and darkness.
What's up with all these large
Secondly,
numbers,
because it was used by Thailand's military as a dumping ground. Not only do divers here need to be careful about getting disoriented and drowning, they have to be careful they don't accidentally touch an unexploded bomb. The Samason Hole is one of the lesser-known blue holes.
And people still go down there,
find much information about it online.
Into a bomb.
It's located in the Gulf of Thailand in the Samason Bay. The surface boasts strong currents, and the waterway is almost always busy with tanker traffic. It's not the greatest place to dive because you can get run over by a boat if you're not careful. Plus, the currents have been known to push divers way off course. But let's assume you can get into the blue hole and start diving. Then you'll be in a whole new world of problems. No light reaches the bottom. The pressure inside the hole is immense, and it's reportedly filled with artillery shells. If you happen to touch one of these shells,
Blow
you
up.
could just set it off. The result would be an underwater explosion and
over
almost
with.
certain death. Thanks
Know
for
you over
watching.
with, boy. Well, these were like the horrifying places in the ocean. Like, I mean, they were though. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Every single one was definitely horrifying, bro. People just diving in there. I guess they don't really care about their life like that. They just, you know what I'm saying, it's in the world anyways. I always go down there. But hopefully y'all like the video. Yeah, man. See y'all tomorrow, man.